gentlemen, it is time for the culmination of the 2018 season. It all starts here in Seoul at Korea's brand new LoL Park, where 12 teams start their run for the World Championship. In the play-in stage, we get some looks at LoL Park. It is a wonderful venue. The cosplayers are in attendance as well to bring the hype. We saw the fans just a little bit before that, and of course, we need our teams. There we see Cloud9 and Kaboom. These will be the teams that kick off the 2018 World Championship and the first game in the play-in stage. I cannot wait, and this is the World's Countdown, where we will introduce you to the biggest tournament of the year and give you a rundown of the teams competing today until the timer reaches 0, and then we will throw it over to the opening ceremony. I'm EpicSkillshot here, joined by Barento Raz Mohammed and Mark Zimmerman to kick off Worlds. Here we are again, guys. Super exciting. It's finally time for the World Championship.
It doesn't really kick in until like the clock starts counting down.
I already feel it. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm like,
juiced.
And I think you're probably super excited because Cloud9 is the first team we're going to see.
It feels really good as a fan of NA to be the kind of kickoff game that gets all the hype going.
Yeah, I cannot wait. We also have a lot of people here on site covering the event with us. And Game 1 will be brought to you by our friends Clayton, Captain Flowers, Reigns, and Jake Spawn Tiberius. So let's take a look. Hello, guys.
Hello, Shocks. Thank you very much. It is going to be an awesome day. It's Worlds. It's the best time of the year. It's our first time casting together. I'm excited for it.
Certainly is. And the last time we saw Kaboom play at the international stage, 75 kills, Captain Flowers. If they can top that today, it would be special. But I think Cloud9 versus Kaboom is a very nice way to start Worlds 2018.
That's definitely a high bar to set for the kills. We'll see how explosive those games get today. But one way or the other, it is going to be awesome. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much. I know we talked about this in rehearsal, and Spawn said 75. We were like, 75? That cannot be real. Double checked. It is true. So do you think C9 Kaboom is going to go 75 kills?
I will say this. There's not going to be a Rammus in that game. It's not going to happen. So 75 is a pretty damn high bar.
You can't know that
to
for
reach.
sure, Raz.
It's not going to happen.
You don't know that.
As an NA fan, if we reach 75 kills, something has gone catastrophically wrong. Okay. I will not be excited for that.
That's a good point. Well, we'll have to track that. Before we get into that, though, let's hand it over to our friend Riv to give us a rundown of the tournament format.
In 2018, the League of Legends World Championship is coming to South Korea, and we are here to lead you through some of the details of the competition. 24 teams will compete in up to 3 stages of Worlds, starting with the play-in stage, followed by the group stage, and concluding with the knockout stage. Play-in, which is taking place in Seoul, is where 12 teams will compete at this stage of the tournament. Earning a spot at the play-in stage are the top seeds from Brazil, the Commonwealth of Independent States, Japan, Latin America North, Latin America South, Oceania, Turkey, and Southeast Asia, along with the number 3 seeds from China, Europe, North America, and the LMS. That pool will be divided between 4 groups, with 3 teams in each group. They will play a best-of-1 double round robin in the play-in group stage, with the top 2 teams from each group advancing to the play-in knockout stage. There, the first and second seeds will be randomly paired together and will compete in a best-of-5, with the 4 winners moving on to the group stage. The group stage takes us to Busan and will introduce 12 new teams. The 3 representatives from Korea, along with the top 2 seeds from China, Europe, North America, the LMS, and finally, the top seed from Vietnam, who earned this spot after their performance at the Mid-Season Invitational. These 16 teams will be split into 4 groups and compete in a best-of-1 double round robin. The top 2 teams from each group will advance to the knockout stage, with the format switching to a best-of-5. 24 of the best teams from around the world will enter, but only 1 can be champion.
Well, then, the important thing to take away here is that it's going to be a long road until we get to the finals. And for the play-ins specifically, in the next 4 days in the group stage of the play-ins, the top 2 of each group goes through to the best-of-5. So you really can't afford to drop too many games as there are only 3 teams in a group.
That's the big one. The good news is the fact that comparatively to MSI, 2 more teams get a chance at the best-of-5. But that being said, 4 games total. You can't have a bad day. If you're having a bad day at the office, you're almost out. That just feels bad.
Doomsday straight away from Raz.
Yeah, I don't think, it's one of the things I think for a lot of teams is exciting to just have a higher chance, I think, to get through, and that's really what you're looking to do, because you got to be able to beat teams to actually get that spot.
Yes.
Logically, that's how competition does work. Now, the 6 teams playing today, they have a chance of being among the first players to claim victory at the new LoL Park and at the World Championship. So we're going to get a rundown of the groups C and D. We'll see those 2 today. In Group C, we have Cloud9, Detonation Focus Me from the LGL, then Kaboom Esports from the CB LoL. So, Marks, I will ask you about Cloud9 straight off the bat. Give us the lowdown. What do we need to know?
Yeah, as the resident NA expert, let me tell you, Cloud9 has had a very hot and cold year, all things considered. They went on massive winning streaks, massive losing streaks, and they did end the year on an uptick, all things considered. They were able to make the finals of the summer split. They did lose that in a pretty convincing fashion, and it's all because of these roster swaps that have happened. They've completely changed their roster around. They had a 7-man roster, ended up on a 6-man roster that they obviously had to bring to Worlds, and there's a lot of young guys on there. So people are kind of looking at this team, very exciting team, but still a lot of question marks about how the maturity will work in a very high-pressure situation.
It says a lot about the organization. Cloud9, the most successful North American team at a Worlds event. The fact that they've constantly come back to this scenario with a very youthful lineup, and it's just become about the creativity of the squad, always coming in, focusing on their style, and the fact that they're playing so well towards their new talent, Blabber, Licorice, all of them feel very confident on this stage, speaks well to the organization.
Well, we don't know, of course, how they're going to do exactly on the world stage, but you, from a feelings perspective, after seeing how well C9 played in the gauntlet, how do you think they're going to arrive here at their first day?
I think they'll do pretty well. I mean, this is a group of guys who have, like Raz was saying, their own unique picks. I'm sure they've done a lot of preparation to come up with something exciting. They do a great job stylistically of making sure that they play around their new players' strengths so that they can go out and do what they do best, because the veterans are the ones who are adapting and supporting them.
They will have to come out swinging. Their very first game of the World Championship is versus Kaboom. Kaboom is, of course, the representative from the CB LoL. We all remember Kaboom from the 2014 World Championship, where they upset Alliance and then gave C9 a berth into the quarterfinals. But as an organization, a lot has happened since then. Raz, they fell into relegation. They had to go through a lot to come to Worlds again with this roster.
Yeah, and so the fact that they came up with an entirely new roster, fresh faces, a lot of questions about the experience going into MSI, a lot of that was answered because they were still confident when they went towards it, but having that on-stage experience in an international event is something you still need if you want to excel, get out of groups. It's going to be a little bit easier now. They can do that with the players that you're seeing right now. So Chitan, Jinkedo, Xantins, the lanes for this team are incredibly strong, and they're being propped up by the junglers. So there's already a structure in place for them.
And I think just the youth and passion that this team brings is going to be the most fun part to watch. A lot of young guys in this group, and just seeing them stand up in their player cams versus finals and stuff like that, like, this will be such a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they're the undisputed best team in Brazil in the CB LoL. MSI, they tried it, they didn't get past it. They'll have to see if they can do better this time at Worlds. They'll also have to get past Detonation Focus Me. That's a team from Japan, and that is the most long-standing organization coming out of the LGL. They were back in the day actually the first squad to field all professional players in their roster, but when it comes to actually grabbing the titles, it hasn't always worked for them. But this year, it's been much better.
It's always been that last best of 5 that gets them, because they are the most successful LGL squad in their own region. That's the thing. Since LGL has started up, they've been hitting first and second place repeatedly, but when it gets down to that ticker, they haven't been able to go to an international event. Last time we saw them at a major international was IWCI 2016. So finally getting that first place run up against Unsold Stuff Gaming was a major sigh of relief for the squad.
Who are we looking at? Who are the star players for this roster?
For me, the one that stands out a lot is Evie. He was on the LGL representatives from last year. They picked him up here for Detonation, and he's back again with a new squad. That's kind of speaks to how important he is, I think, to this team, as well as Saros. I mean, you just have to talk about this guy when he's in the game. His champion pool is absolutely insane compared to what most people are playing in the current meta. Kind of the hipster Heimerdinger player, busting it out way before other people were.
Awesome.
And just even though a lot of the focus is going to be towards the top side of the map, I love Utapun in this case that he's been the core member of Detonation Focus Me. He's always been filling out the roles. When they didn't have a top laner, he went to the top lane, went to the bottom lane. If there was an issue that they didn't really have dealt with going through off-season, I felt like it's always been him that's been the calm mind.
All right, very cool group to look at. We'll get a first look at them in our first game. We also want to look at Group D, who welcomes back a couple of favorites to the international stage. Gambit, the first one we may know the best. Also all red logos. G-Rex from the LMS, the 3rd seed, and Chaos Latin Gamers from Latin America South. So let's start with Gambit then. We also saw them most recently at MSI. They have this roster of some veterans like Diamond Prox and like Edward, but since the glory days of early league, it hasn't been as successful internationally, Mark.
No, I mean, a lot of these guys keep getting up to the international stage, and they keep kind of getting knocked down. And most recently at MSI, they lost to Flash Wolves, who then went on to have a great group stage. And you saw some salt out of them
Tricky
in
draw.
the interviews that they were saying unlucky draw. They felt they got the short end of the stick, but here up against the LMS's 3rd seed in G-Rex, they kind of have their chance for revenge to upset the #1 seed in the group.
Yeah, and they always, major regrets for them has always been preparation, drafting. That's always been the key points that they look towards. But they've been getting better and better in internationals. 2017 play-ins was disastrous for them, but the MSI performance was actually rather good in the group stage, and they've been known for their cheesier picks or just the drafting phase in general. So first game that we see from them is going to be the most fiery one.
Yeah, for me, it's really the combination of those old school players with some of the new blood like Kira in the mid lane. I want to see them take that next step. And then that for me is being successful in the best of 5s and hopefully for them getting to the group stage of Worlds. But as said, they'll have to beat some old demons like G-Rex and KLG in this group. Chaos Latin Games, we also saw at MSI, they return again with the weight, I would say, of the region on their shoulders, like always. They are the champion once again in LATAM South, and I'm thinking about Tierwolf. That's the guy who we saw at MSI, who was on the analyst desk, who was really passionate. And I think if you had to describe him in one word, he can really carry KLG, but sometimes maybe a bit over-aggressive.
They definitely play through him the most, and you see these like level 3 skirmishes over Scuttle Crab where both solo lanes are collapsing in, and it's like, oh my god, they're going so hard because they really do key off what Tierwolf is trying to do in the early game.
I'm just going to cut you off because I believe we just need to mention Dyer just disappeared. We kind of glanced over G-Rex, but they are the team that is the 3rd seed from the LMS, and well, when it's LMS, you always think historically about, oh, the Flash Wolves are the best. AHQ was in there for a very long time, but now it's different with Mad Team in the group stage and G-Rex here. What can we expect of that team?
For G-Rex as a squad, remember they're trying to shed the entire idea that it's only just about Flash Wolves in the region. They've gotten so much better. Remember acquiring the spot from Raze at the beginning of the year, the team that really broke out for the region, having an incredible spring split going into the summer split. So the story is there for them. They've just been trying to work around the 3 import limit that they came into this one. So they had 3 Koreans for the squad. They had to honestly take down Raze. They're a better jungler for Empty. So PK, Empty, Candy, and Stitch, and Koala at the bottom lane. Stitch and Candy are the 2 players that you should be watching fairly closely. I think PK has had a great gauntlet run, so there's an option there if they want to play towards the top side of the map, but they're a pretty bottom side focused team.
And I'm sorry I cut you off before. Now you get to talk about KLG. I just want to, test you for the first day that we're together on the
This
desk.
feels like you're challenging me already.
You missed James already?
Yeah, bring back Dash. No, but yeah, KLG, they were able to upset Rainbow 7, and that was kind of a big deal, and because those 2 regions, LLN and CLS, are going to be merging in the future, this is kind of their last chance to make history for their region and kind of put a stamp on it where they have come up just short a couple of times in the past. And like we were saying, of course, Tierwolf is kind of the lifeblood for that team.
Yeah, they're a major underdog just because when it comes to these international events and play-ins, they've actually consistently underperformed in terms of not being able to make it out of the groups. They have great moments. The moment like when they went up against Rainbow 7 and were able to just take the series and also dominate audience junglers. Those happen. But they need to find that consistency to be able to get out of group. This is an easier group for them, but we need more out of it.
Yeah, a good group, plus the fact, as you said, that the regions are merging next year. Hopefully this gives them like this oomph that they can push through to a place where they haven't been able to get to before. A lot of players here like Nate, who was a rookie at MSI, who now has a bit more experience. Hopefully they can get it all together for them, and they'll all be squaring off today. We'll see how they match up, and that will be after the opening ceremony in just 16 minutes. So we are getting closer. As said, we're going to start off the day with Cloud9 versus Kaboom. You know what? I think this is poetic. This is awesome that this is the very first game of the playoffs. Are you afraid, Mark?
I am not particularly afraid. I believe in C9, but it is a little scary just with how young some of the guys on C9 are, how energetic Kaboom is, their history of the last time we saw them at Worlds, just destroying Alliance's hopes and dreams, helping out Cloud9 in the process.
Yeah.
So you might be wondering if some people, some of those futures coming back to roost a little bit.
Look, I'm going to come out and say that I feel like you're in denial, son.
I'm in denial.
You're in denial.
Do we want to
Kaboom's
get
got
a
him.
prediction?
It's the boom. Like before we even get there.
Okay.
The boom. Kaboom comes out and I feel like the last time when we saw them in MSI, the squad's been doing it really well. Look, I understand.
What do you say? You're picking C9.
The cat's out of the bag.
I didn't want to show the prediction this quickly, man. I didn't.
All this bluster.
Listen, I think I want to defend myself because it's going to be like, oh, she hates NA. The thing is, I just love upsets in a tournament. I also think when it comes down to the wire, C9 is the team that will be #1 in this group and should be the better team.
Yes.
But I think maybe the rookies have some problem adjusting, and maybe Kaboom sees that as their chance with Shaitan going ham in the bottom lane to take the game. And I mean, I just want to see, Mark, like just be wrong.
You just, it's more of an
There we
attack
go.
at me
No,
and
no,
NA
no,
than
no.
anything. That's what I heard.
I respect it. I respect it. For me with the squad, and even though I was kind of building them up,
Yeah.
they are a very momentum-based team. Their series up against Flamengo in the finals is actually very nice to see that they can come back in these ridiculous situations. That being said, C9, very good team.
Yes.
Very structured team, and they're equally as aggressive as well. I think that it's going to be very difficult for the Kaboom to.
Well, we'll dive into the matchup a bit later. I want to touch on maybe one more prediction. Gamet versus G-Rex is the second game. I personally voted for Gamet. I think they looked really good in the best of one stage of MSI, but then we don't really know what to expect from G-Rex. So I know that you guys had a different vote.
Yeah, lacking information is going to be the biggest
Yeah.
point, that we don't have too much info on a lot of these teams, especially with the scrims that they've been having. That being said, I have G-Rex just because I have faith in the players. They've had it down tight when they were going through the gauntlet, and so I feel like that's going to carry it over.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing for me. I liked what I saw out of them, and though they don't have Rays, I still think the rest of the team will be just fine.
We'll see how that plays out. And while you tune into all the games today, make also sure that you're logged in to watch.lolesports.com/rewards, where enjoying Worlds earns you in-game swag. Just sign in your account and you'll see missions in client throughout the tournament. For more information on how it works, check out the article on lolesports.com. Now, as you get your watch rewards set up, we're going to take a quick break. And as we go, let's take a look at this MasterCard priceless moment, Kaboom's historic upset the last time they were at Worlds.
Europe's alliance will be taking on Brazil's Kaboom esports. Considering the perfect game yesterday for Alliance, I think there's a lot of expectation. Only 2 games left in this group, meaning that if Alliance takes down Kaboom and Nationwide Shield takes down Cloud9, then Cloud9 is eliminated from the group stages here at the World Championships.
They're going to try and push up mid as quick as possible. Alliance have to swing around and sweep and try and cause this one. The charm catches on Wicked. Tino's goes in. He got him. He takes him down. And that's going to cause real problems. The inhibitor turret is being bashed off. Froggen moves in. Can he slide across? Tino Sonya's hourglass catches him out. The rat-a-tat-tat comes around the side, but Froggen turned around. He goes down. Kaboom are destroying Alliance.
I cannot believe this right now. They are pushing into the base at 23 minutes. They are totally shutting down Alliance, the super team from the European LCS. They are able to take him down. Danagorn very low. Shoot, gonna get hit up, start of the fight. They're gonna win. Next turn is almost about to go down. Down, Alliance down. Kaboom, they love you. And they are gonna take the game here. And I can't believe it, D-Man. Kaboom takes the game over Alliance.
Welcome back, everyone, to the World's Countdown, where we're getting closer to the opening ceremony minute by minute because, well, that's how clocks work. That's just how it is.
Yep.
Every minute we count down now at 8 minutes away from the opening ceremony and meeting our team. So I think it's high time that we dive into some players that the viewers should keep their eyes on for day one. And for day one, we want to look at Chitan from the CBLOL, and Diamond Prox, Tierwolf, and Blabber. So, Raz, I know you're a very big fan of Chitan, so break it down for us. Why is this such an exciting guy to watch?
Confidence that he had on that stage in his rookie year, for me, speaks bounds to him. After with solo kills, just team fights that work out well for him. Mid-game, he's just gonna pop off, he's gonna jump out of his seat, he just gets up. So I love the passion that exudes from the team, and it usually starts from Chitan, especially in their finals up against Flamengo. He was able to carry a lot of the team fights that they had deficits in, so a lot of focus should be on this young
And he
AD
beat his kind of idol BRTT in those finals.
Hell yeah.
And when speaking to experts, they say he's very Uzi-esque, very BRTT-esque, so that he jumps in and he goes for the kills. We'll
Yes.
talk about it later because that could become very interesting versus Cloud9.
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that. I do also want to mention the jungler for KLG, Tierwolf. We touched on it already. This is really the captain, the guy who carries the team if they win and gets everything started for KLG.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely kind of everything that they key off of in the early game. Almost all the fights start around him. He always has really high kill participation, and he is really what gets this team going. He's also a leader, you know, in these discussions that you see, always a huge vocal point for them. And in a group where a lot of these teams kind of live or die by their jungle action, I think it's a great group for him to try and pop off and make something happen.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of good stuff because remember, G-Rex are having those jungle issues, and if it's going to happen, if that series or that game ends up coming through, it's it's going to be decided by the jungler.
Well, at the end of the day, we also have KLG versus Gamet, so that means Tierwolf will be going up against Diamond. Now, Diamond is one of the guys when we look at Gamet where we see, oh, this is the guy with historical pedigree. He's been around since the beginning of League of Legends. But in the last 2 years, we've sometimes been left wondering when he was going to pop off and be consistent. So what Diamond are we expecting to show up here?
That's the point. The fact that he's made the mold for junglers. You can tell you had a counter jungle, the 101, but the issue is the inconsistency. MLXG-esque, where you either have amazing games and performances that your team can rally behind, or a lot of times the risks that you do take, you find the back foot. In the last series that we've seen, honestly, Diamond Prox has looked incredibly impressive.
Yep, definitely the case. And it's just the question of whether his team has his back as well, because sometimes you see him kind of on an island going for these invades without having much priority from the rest of his team. So not just him playing well, but the team understanding where he wants to go.
Yeah, we'll be much the wiser when these two junglers face up at the end of the day. The last person I want to talk about is C9's Blabber. Now, of course, there's so much talk about how these rookies are going to do and everything that's been so turbulent this year for Cloud9. What is your expert opinion on what we're going to see out of this guy?
Well, you can expect a lot of aggression, the Hekarims, the Nocturnes, Kindreds, all this stuff. And what C9 says they really like about him is that he actually plays with his brain off, which is something you don't always think
Sounds
of.
bad,
It
but...
usually sounds bad, but he plays so instinctually. As soon as someone he feels is out of position, he'll hop on them and try and kill them. And the rest of the team changes their play style to support that, to make sure that he has the tools to go in and get aggressive. And so when he's on point, he is crushing people. But because he is young, he is that rookie, he does have some consistency problems, things also go pretty badly for him. That's why you have that jungler that they brought in Sven.
Well, it is going to be trial by fire for Blabber. He's going up against Kaboom and Ranger. And ahead of that first game for Cloud9, Avali caught up with Reapert to get his thoughts on starting the tournament in Seoul.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Coach Reapert of Cloud9. And Reapert, it's my understanding that you guys were actually happy to go in through play-ins this year to kind of adjust and ease your rookies in. So tell me more.
Yeah, so we have 3 rookies, obviously, as you guys know. So we have Ricoris and Jazar, Blabber, who obviously we don't have a much of best of 3 or 5 experience right now. So more stage experience are super valuable for us. So I'm happy with that.
And speaking to that stage experience, I want to ask you a little bit more about your choice of Svenskeren over Golden Glue for that sub position. You mentioned that you wanted to choose it for the more versatile jungle. So what does having that flexibility in the jungle, excuse me, what kind of advantage does it give Cloud9 coming into Worlds?
So Blabber is the type of guy just aggressive and just jumping in. Whenever you see the enemy champion, you just flash in, right? So in that kind of play style, it was worked in the NA, but in the top class teams are like just smacking him, you know? Like, oh, did you flash in? Bam. So definitely we need more experienced jungler like the Svenskeren, which is they can coaching each other's and they can learn each other's. Was pretty good, and Golden Glue obviously is supporting to Jensen right now.
And last year, Cloud9's performance in play-ins was pretty outstanding. You guys didn't drop a single game and went undefeated throughout the entire play-in stage. So how confident are you guys that you're going to repeat that success?
Playing stages are pretty confident for me, because anyway, I'm assuming we are a better team in this league. But obviously, they are super good. They have a reason for came here, and also we have 3 rookies, so I'm not disrespect to any other the playing teams. And also, we are trying to best for win today.
Well, Reaper, thank you, and I wish you the best of luck.
Wonderful interview there. He echoed what you said. Well, Blabber sometimes just likes to flash in, and he said, well, we're not disrespecting any of our opponents. And that's really what it's going to come down to for me for C9. These rookies have to help carry the legacy that Cloud9 has at Worlds. This is a team that's been at every single World Championship since their inception, so maybe that plays a bit in their head as to, okay, we have to prove ourselves also in that matter.
Yeah, luckily they still have Sneaky with them, who has been the consistent rock this entire time, and hopefully they lean on a fair amount here. They also have Jensen coming back, who has changed his play style depending on who he's playing with. When it is Blabber, we talk about things like the Galio and the Zillion. When it's Svenskeren, he can play more aggressive, and the whole team kind of keys off who's in the jungle and how the rookies are playing, and they do a great job job supporting them.
And one thing we've heard from time and again is that Zeyzal is a calm mind at the support position. So if there's ever an issue about people getting too hypey, I'm sure that he's going to reel him back in.
Well, that's maybe what I want to jump to immediately when we talk about Kaboom, the team that comes back to Worlds since their last appearance in 2014. And well, they're coming back against a team that they helped get to the quarterfinals. We've set up that story, but I'd like to talk a bit about the lanes that we're looking at and what is important for this team. They have been through all of it already, right? They've been relegated. They're now back, and this is the guys they have to do it with. So talk to me about that guy you like to play see playing so much, Chitan, up versus the Cloud9 bottom lane, Raz.
That's where I see a lot of our focus is going to be in this game. That a lot of the jungle pressure is going to be coming to the bottom lane, and Ranger, as a jungler, is going to be looking to counter gank a little bit more so he can keep the bottom lane up to par. If that happens, Chitan is set up to succeed, then all right, aces, you're going into the team fight stage and you're already at a good point.
But is that the only boon they have versus C9?
I think it's their best bet just because Sneaky has had a little bit of an underwhelming year so far, hasn't been getting too many resources. That usually goes top or mid, so it does kind of line up with Kaboom's strengths, so I would expect them to play through that.
Overall, your expectations are that C9 should have no trouble at all with this matchup?
You might get surprised and you might get hit once in the jaw, but as long as you're ready for a little bit of first blood and some craziness, and then it's a long game, you should be fine.
Is it a glass jaw, though?
Oh,
Is
not
it
a glass jaw.
We'll see. Well, the stakes are incredibly high. You do not want to lose your first game at the World Championship. You have to win it, both for Cloud9 and Kaboom. The stakes are through the roof. We can see LoL Park there, so let's hand it over to Caster June to kick off Worlds 2018.